just talk it, walk it. Walk is only. Don't just talk it.
We're going straight into it now, right?
Don't just talk it.
Best way, is it?
Yeah. If any issues, I'll just tell you. You're good.
Talk it, walk it.
Would you look?
Look at me like you're
All
talking
right,
to me. I thought you were calm, collected, mate.
I'm all right, yeah.
Dan Apsee, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, yeah. You all good?
I'm good, mate. Finally got you on. The most
I know. Been nagging me for months now, no?
superstar, mate. You're
Busiest man in Bridgend, that's what I am.
legit. I remember 10 years ago when I came here, you were Loft. Loft was up and running, flying then. That was
Yeah.
2011.
11.
So just before I left, it was going. You had music flying there. Christmases were crazy there.
Yeah, bank holidays and Christmas for us, sort of thing. Like back
There's
in the day.
there's many people. There's many dynamics to you, Dan, because obviously rugby, the Apsee name in Bridgend is massive, and obviously what you've done now in business as well. So it's three areas I kind of want to talk into, but you've kind of, for a lot of people out there, they kind of go down a dynamic of I've always wanted to be this, I always wanted to be that. You actually started as a rugby player. We're still playing a bit now, but
Yeah.
that was the journey originally, right?
Yeah, I guess. Sort of like rugby's always been like sort of a big part of my life, I suppose. Obviously with the family and my old man and, you know, my uncles and all that sort of stuff. Sort of in the blood, I guess. So yeah, always sort of like been big into like sport when I was younger. Obviously rugby, I think, you know, teach you a lot of values and how, you know, being a team player and that team environment sort of like molds you ready for life. So yeah, that was always sort of like the big thing sort of growing up was sport, rugby. And then, yeah, I guess things change then. You sort of have to grow up a bit and think, right, what am I going to do with myself here?
But you do. I know you do a little bit of basketball and mixed netball.
Yeah,
is that your
mixed netball team. So, like, obviously, Hannah, who you had on the other week, yeah, me and her sort of run that mixed netball team.
Nice.
So it's just stuff to get out of work, to be honest with you. It's nice to have a little outlet and then something different to do and different experiences.
Well, you're playing this weekend for the Ath, mate. So it's another outlet there.
I know. Looking forward to it.
Where the boys are back. We're all kind of coming back and trying to get back into it.
I think it's what it needs. Like obviously, like grassroots rugby and it's our local club, isn't it? And I think rugby's kind of gone a bit of a weird way in Wales at the minute, especially at grassroots level with participation. And I think it's a generational thing now where boys aren't as like when I was growing up, everyone was just rugby weekend and you know training Tuesday, Thursday. We'd have mental numbers there. Do you know what I mean? And like the boys be on to you if you weren't training. Like why aren't you fucking training? Like.
Getting dropped.
You're on the team, and it's so competitive back then. And I think it was more. Now it's a cultural thing. You know, you've got people, young lads these days, and women. They've got other things going on, and I think rugby sort of like, especially in Wales, you can definitely see it. It's not as prevalent as what it was maybe sort of 20 years ago.
It's true that it has dwindled a bit. I believe COVID has taken a massive toll on that, though. I think it gave people you had no choice not to play, and I think these. You know, the other generation coming through, I think they probably realise that there's, I don't know, gaming or...
Shopping with your missus on a Saturday.
Shopping, missing on a Saturday, going for holidays in season.
Yeah. It is a big commitment. I think when you're younger, you don't really realise it. No. You just kind of go with the flow and your mates play and you just go, I'm gonna do what my mates do. And you all sort of like buy into it on block. And I think... Yeah, you don't really put much thought into how much of actual commitment it is to your time and your life and things like that. As you get older, I know a lot of boys will start families and stuff like that. And it is, you know. And then they're the ones who get frustrated that they're the boys who aren't turning up because they feel like they're sacrificing
so much.
And then other, you know, maybe the younger boys sort of like they're not really, their buy-in isn't as much really. I think that's a problem across Wales. I think. And you can definitely see it. Obviously, playing in the lower leagues now, and you look and you go to these other clubs, and it's not just a one club problem. It's sort of like everyone's sort of in the same boat.
How do we solve that problem?
I think it's the $1 million question, isn't it? I think I don't really know is the answer, to be honest. I think something's got to be done. Otherwise, I think as a nation we probably are on like a sort of in the decline. As much as everyone wants to sort of deny that, I think that is the reality of the situation. I think it's just getting participation level and getting people engaged in rugby again, and whether that means like, you know, you're not training as much, or there's not as much commitment to it, or again, a lot of boys are they'd rather be in the CrossFit gyms looking good, ready for Instagram. Do you know what I mean? And they don't want the black eyes, and they've been waking up on a Sunday, but they're hardly able to walk. But I think you're always going to have like an element of players who are still going to want to play, and there's always been that drop off sort of from youth rugby into seniors and that transition. But it just doesn't seem to be any better at the minute, and
we'll see. Like everything comes around in circles. I'm sure it'll come back around. A bit of my admiration to you, Dan, is actually from similar pedigrees in rugby, now in business and thriving in business. I love people from our area doing well, as you know, Hannah the other week, and other people have been on the podcast. For me, man, that's amazing. Even speaking to Levi, what he's doing with Addicts and Juve earlier, that's amazing to me because the people having a crack. But my admiration to you is because you probably one of the first in our age network then, so I think of to
I
really
like that. Keep at me in your age bracket. That's fine.
You're a couple of years on me, but we'll let you off. No, but like, you know, when Loft was going, and then obviously you pivoted from Loft to La Cucina. You've got you got Marble over there. You've got this one that's about to open. What's this one called?
So yeah, we're in Fusion at the minute, which is going to be our new little like Asian small plates place.
So if you don't know,
people
this
think
guy,
I'm mad, but yeah.
So if no one knows, Dan owns a half a Bridgend. So now, where does this drive come from to, I suppose, grow in other areas?
Yeah, I think it's sort of always been like I like love the quote off the film Wedding Crashers with Vince Vaughn says, "I'm an ideas man. I thrive on enthusiasm." And that's pretty much me. Do you know what I mean? I love ideas. I love thinking of concepts. Yeah. And then and I guess I've just been lucky to have the opportunity really to try and like put things that go around in my head and you know and make them become reality. And yeah, it's just I don't know. I just sort of like my mentality is once I start one, I go, all right, yeah, that was really good. And I go, oh yeah, I got a really good idea. And then
bang again.
And then okay, well, how do you do this? And like my mind kind of works like really analytically and like really. I overthink as well, so like my mind just doesn't really shut off, which is great in some aspects, but it's a bit of a curse as well.
So if you tunnel vision that, then obviously you've tunnel vision that overthinking into business, into restaurants, into everything you're doing now, gin bars, and you know, it turns it into like a masterpiece, really.
Well, it's not a masterpiece yet, I wouldn't say it, but
well, okay, then I this is one thing I like to ask questions on is like. When you have one restaurant, I bet you were like, I just want one restaurant. Yeah. You get one. Well, what's next?
Yeah, I was done. I kind of made a thing I was done after Marble as well. So we opened Marble. That was like on the radar for about 2.5 years probably as an idea. Oh, you know, more like the site, the unit where we are. I've always liked that unit. So I was like, we can do something like that. It's got a brilliant frontage onto the high street. And then, after that, I was done. I was like, right, that's it. We've obviously got La Cucina, we've got a little gym bar, which takes over, and then obviously Marble, which is the steak restaurant. And after that, I was sort of like, I'm done with that and settled. And that was the case.
And that's definitely changed. So, like, I remember, like, I was speaking to Stoker the other day about him. I brought it up yesterday to you about how you'd go to a game. This is back when we go all the way back to the Loft now. Yeah. And he said you'd be in the bus, everyone would be like having a drink or talking about the game or music on, and there you are with your cocktail book open out and learning about these things. Is that someone that instilled in you, or is it just kind of self-driven?
Nah, I think I was just a bit of a gimp, to be honest.
Well, that gimp has worked out.
Yeah, no, I was 25 at the time, so I opened the Loft when I was 25.
Wow.
So so my like backgrounds originally I was a bartender, so that was my sort of thing. That's what I enjoyed. That's what I was passionate about. Mixed drinks, all that sort of stuff. And we went to Built Wells, we did, I remember. And I was sitting there and I just had my cocktail book out, just reading about cocktails and writing stuff down. And I remember, like you said, John Stoker came up to me, he's like, what are you doing there? I was like, reading about cocktails. He's like, what? He's like, couldn't get his head around it. Like, he's just like, this is wild. Sort of thing. We're playing rugby now in an hour. I was like, yeah. I have my downtime reading about cocktails, is that right? But it was all like, that's what I was passionate about at the time. And then like that's the sort of like that was the concept when obviously we brought the Loft to Bridgend. Was there wasn't a cocktail bar, there wasn't like an upmarket bar, there wasn't somewhere there was a bit more on trend at the time. I think I felt at the time Bridgend was very much stuck in a time and wasn't moving with how hospitality was sort of evolving back then.
That's true. That is, it was the first thing I thought up in the Broadlands where there was a vibe again,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's, well, for instance now, Bridgend, I believe, is back on the map in my eyes. What's going on here? It's nice to walk through the town in the middle of the, at night time in the week or on the weekend, and it's busy again. Its faces are showing you. There's shops, there's restaurants full. That's credit to you, mate, as well. But obviously, that's nice to see for me anyway.
Yeah. To be honest with you, like you don't really sit back. Because you're so in it all the time, and like you just go in, and you don't really have time to reflect and think. Like I'm trying to, like, not just me, but a couple of others. We're trying to like change the landscape of Bridgend and make it a bit more accessible and a bit more on trend, and a place that people want to come and enjoy their evenings. And I know it's a little negative, bad press, as most town centres do at the minute, but I think if we can take it in a certain direction, it will attract people, because there are enough people in like large towns like where we are, who are looking for something, for that product. So I think it's just about like really doing it well, and then people will come and invest in it as well, because ultimately it's you'll use it or lose it, sort of saying. Unless they come and use this and want to get the town thriving again, it's going to just go into rack and ruin, and everyone will be moaning there's nothing in. Yeah. But
then no one's willing to invest in themselves.
Exactly. It's just it's a vicious circle then.
Yeah. How do you, for a lot of people, we a lot of people deal with fear and, these opportunities they want is like to try these things, but it's like that, well, what happens if it doesn't fail? They look at the half empty instead of the half full. For yourself to be, phase 6, you spoke about, you want to get the phase 100.
But we'll get to that, yeah.
How do you overcome fear?
To be honest with you, I'm quite, not fearless, but it's my dad he's the one who's a nervous wreck when I do these things. So I come back, I give ideas, and he's like, "Oh, you sure you need to be doing that now? God, don't, come on now." And I just sort of like, I guess I sort of back myself. Like if I got an idea and I'm thinking, I know it'll work. Like, so I'm pretty chilled about it.
Nice.
So like, no, I'm not worried, because I know that these concepts, as long as you can execute them well, and you find the right staff, get the right sort of vibe there, get the right atmosphere, get the right environment people are working, that I don't really have the fear as such. It's always in the back of your head sometimes where like, maybe we'd have a quiet week. But then I think you just got to get out that mindset where you don't do a business based on a day or a week. You got to look at the overall bigger picture.
Yeah. Who taught you that though?
I think it's just over the years. I think like years ago, I'm far more chilled now. I think anyone who's like worked with me over the years, like I'm now completely like, I'm a lot more chilled than what I sort of was. And I think you just got to accept sometimes that not everything's going to be perfect, and you are going to have bad days, or you could put things in place to try and make it as perfect as you can. But everyone's human and things happen as well. Like, so I think you just got to sort of like accept that. I think if you build your brand to a certain point where people are investing in that brand, and you're known for like the quality, and what you're putting out is something which hopefully can deal with any sort of setbacks. Whereas years ago, I'd be very like, oh my God, we've had like one bad review, or someone's done this, or and then that, and you sort of like panic about it as much, because I think you got that fear in the back of your head of, oh, this happens and it's like a house of cards, it'll all come crumbling down. I think you just got to back yourself and back the product, really.
So obviously, when you backed yourself after Loft and moved into town, and then for me, I'm like a sponge, man, as you can tell, and I'm just listening to you. But like, how do you then go, okay, it's right now, it's time to pivot and get another one? How do you know that feeling?
So we opened the Loft, and I did it with my mother at the time, which was a brilliant experience.
Challenge of family, this one.
That was great at times, horrific at other times.
Is it hard because you have two different visions as well?
Oh, and we're like I like creative control. So like that's not my bag. Like I want to do like all the restaurants. People don't believe I actually designed them all as well. So all the decor and interior.
Really? This one too. This is stunning, mate.
So
they're all stunning, but this is
they're all my sort of ideas, which people are baffled by. Like, no way. I'm like,
impressive, mate.
But it's like it's getting that creative control really. And wanted like we butt heads a few times. But so we opened that, and it was. Like my background before that was always sort of like tapas. So like I'd worked in Bar 44 back in the day, and
Cowbridge.
No? In the Cowbridge one. And then sort of thought it'd always been a thought of mine, to be honest, that Bridgend could do with sort of a tapas restaurant, and we used to do a couple of tapas nights up the Loft, which you do quite well. And it's sort of like I got approached to take a unit on town back then. I think it was 2015.
Wow.
And. We sort of just went for it, and then it went from there really.
Yeah.
And we were obviously down in the old courthouse at the time.
That's right.
Yeah, it seemed to go quite well. We've had ups and downs, you know, as you do. We seem to have got a bit of consistency now, and then we obviously did the move during COVID.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're up this end down now in the old McDonald's building, as it were.
Yeah, man. When we were kids, I used to smash the McDonald's joint. But okay, then from that, then Dan, like obviously you've got multiple staff. How do you keep a happy camp?
I think that's the biggest challenge, if I'm honest, with the business, and it's the biggest headache as well.
Yeah.
You're just managing different personalities, different. You know, they've all got their opinions on things and how they want things. And like, what we sort of like learned over the years is, I guess, that like we try and keep like an open communication channel. So if there's any issues, just hear it.
Yeah, nice.
If you want to speak to me, just like I'm quite approachable. Like I don't want to be one of these bosses where it's like no one can speak to me sort of
Can't
thing.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, so we try and keep like comms quite open, so we can like get that communication in and resolve any issues or things before
Nice.
sort of like gets to a point where it's escalating. I think we just try and like, you know, the biggest thing we have to do like these team meetings stuff, and a lot of it is respect is what the staff expect from each other as well. So they want to, you know, it is hard. Do you know what I mean? And they do have disagreements at times, and like it's human nature. It's like it's in any environment you go in, you put a group of people together, you got to get them to gel and get them to work towards that common goal. But yeah, I think most of my staff have been here for years now, so I think to me that's a good indication that we're doing something right, that they're sticking around and they're quite loyal to hopefully myself and the brand. Like, so
Do you find as well then, for instance, if people are sticking loyal to you, I find as well, you know, we all have egos.
yeah,
It's sometimes putting our ego to the side and listening to what someone's got to say is actually beneficial, because like sometimes because we can take from that, you know what, I needed to hear that. I needed that right now. But sometimes I'm speaking from my own experiences, our pride or ego goes, fucking shut up. You know what I mean? A bit of that little inner voice in our head.
Yeah. And you get that. And like I said, you're managing different egos, especially you try managing kitchen staff as well.
Chefs are pretty hot-heads, I believe.
They're a different species altogether, they are. But like, yeah, I think you just got to like try and get on their level, I think. And like, I do a lot of work in the kitchen now. So I say I started bartending, but now I've gone like from front to back. So I'm like in the kitchens working with them day in and day out as well.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that adds to as well, because they're like, oh, okay, he's mucking in, he doesn't mind
invested,
getting involved and helping us out in the kitchen and stuff. And yeah, it's a crazy operation to be involved with. Anyone who works in hospitality who's worked there, they'll know you've got to be slightly mad to work in hospitality.
Going back, mate, to the, you know, obviously with the rugby aspect, how, for instance, if you've come across, let's be honest, rugby people are on the spectrum. In the nicest way possible. Yeah. We're on the spectrum in certain places. If you can tolerate that, you can bring that into you know, probably 90% of people who work with you are not as bad, or, you know, down. But I have viewed the chefs are the creme de la creme.
Oh yeah, I think going back to rugby, I think when you're in that team environment, there's quite transferable skills into like a workplace where you've got to work as a team as well. So I think stuff like that's quite invaluable, really, where you're trying to understand your teammates, communicate with your teammates, and ultimately you're all trying to like, it's performance based as well, isn't it? Like I've always been performance based, which is trying to get across these youngsters half the time, and we're here to win, not to mess around. Like, but like ultimately I think, you know, lessons and the sort of like stuff you learn from team sports is definitely transferable into a work environment where you're working in a team. Do you know what I mean?
How, for instance, then, what advice would you give to someone who would want to get into business, but they're you know, they're a bit hesitant at the moment?
I think a lot, like you say, like your podcast is talkers and doers, isn't it? Really, you can talk something to death. Yeah. But I think at some point you just got to go, I'm going to do this. I think if you do it, I think you just got to go all out and do it, and not dilly-dally or go in half-hearted. Like, do your research, you know, and just go for it. But then you've got to be committed. You've got to, like, you know, you can't have days, I don't fancy this anymore. Because we all have those days. I've had those days where I've gone, fucking hell, what am I doing here? Like, I just do sit in the house today. But you got to go, right, come on, let's crack on. We got things to do, like, and keep pushing the rock. You you know, and that's the biggest thing, I think.
I think, do you find as well, from myself as well, is if I look too far ahead, I'm going to get overwhelmed. If I look just, what's my next, like those days, I have a goal on what I want, but if I just go, okay, I'm just going to focus on this week for now, or like this month, or like, what have I got to get done today, which aligns with this?
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of, because if I go, our budget is X, Y, and Z at the end of this month, you're like, well, it's day one or day two.
Yeah, exactly.
You're overwhelming yourself before it's even started.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of that as well. I'll start saying, well, what about this? And I'm like, hang on, just concentrate on this, like day by day, like say, you know, set your goals, you know, and try and just smash them really. And then I think the bigger picture then starts taking care of itself. And then I think in the short term, it starts opening doors as well. Once you've like sort of like nailed what you want to do, you'll find opportunities start coming your way. That's what I've always found. Like, you know, stay in your lane, be good at what you're good at, nail what you're good at. And then obviously, like, you know, look to expand, and hopefully doors will open then.
Definitely. I'm intrigued about everything, Dan, with yourself and what you're doing. But what was your biggest learning curve in business?
In business?
Yeah, well, unless in life in general.
Going deep here now, aren't I?
Is that all right with you?
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Get a couple of mushrooms out now if you want.
I think there's so much learning on the job that you're doing. Like, and I'm a big believer of you never stop learning, no matter how old you are, or how much you think you know. And I think it's the whole like dealing with people, I think, is the biggest learning thing, and how to get the best out of them and to motivate them. And then from a business side, I think my biggest learning curve is to not take things so personal. That was sort of a big thing, sort of like starting out, where I take things so personally. Whereas now, I just think, just don't take it personal. Like, you got to, like, in some aspects, you got to separate your identity from the business as well. You know, they're not slagging Dan Apsee off; they're just slagging off an element of something of a business which you don't have total control of all the time.
Correct.
So I think it's like learning to just like deal with that. And then, the biggest learning you could do, like I said, managing people and dealing with people. Because I said, like, without the staff, especially in the business I'm in, you haven't really got a business. So you've got to try and get everyone on board, you know, invested in the brand and trying to push it forward.
That's a really interesting what you just said then about how don't take things personal, especially in business, because it's not directed at you. It's directed at that, you know, this perceived thing, or in fact, 99% of the time as well, I find with people is they might have something going on. It might be a reflection of what's going on them at the moment.
Oh, definitely.
And then they bring in that. They don't intend to bring it. They bring it.
We've had some wild complaints and customers over the years. We don't get, you know, in fairness, touch wood, we don't really get too many complaints, but they're going to happen. It's the nature of the beast. You're in the environment where you're going to, and a business where it's a product of it. Yeah, but like sometimes you get some wild ones and he's looking at people thinking, what the hell is this about? But like you said, it could just be what they've got going on in their life, and they're just sort of venting to something completely irrelevant. So yeah, sometimes it is that.
How do you deal with stress then? Mixed netballs on Fridays.
Yeah, mixed netball on Fridays. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, to be honest, you can almost get addicted to stress and like a chaotic lifestyle. And I think I've been guilty of that in the past, where I've been so chaotic and like, you know, I think the term's a busy fool sometimes, isn't it? And you're running around, and then like you're like, oh yeah, I don't know how to live any other way. So you kind of get addicted to it. But then I sort of realised that a few years ago that you know, to try and like structure it better and to get a bit more balance in your life, so you're not all just work. Because years ago I'd have worked 100 hours a week and not bat an eyelid, and like, yeah, great, isn't it? But then as I get older and like, you know, things have happened, and you're thinking, nah, it's not really there. You got to try and find that balance. So I think dealing with stress is just coming back to, like you said, like, you know, the stuff that I've seen you talk about, where like you're just setting goals yourself and getting tasks done. Like, I like a little to-do list I do, and like tick it off. I love all that.
Yeah, nice, mate.
And I feel great then once I've done like 5 things.
That's the key, innit? I find as well, though, a lot of people, for instance, Dan, they've got to get shit done right, but then they neglect themselves.
Yeah.
So they're like, stop eating good, or stop exercise, or stop socializing, because they put all their eggs in this basket. Definitely. And they're like, you know, that might end, and then before you know it, it's like they either get sick or they get like, you know, down in the dumps because that dump has ended, and they're like, fuck, I put 10 kilos on, social life's gone, and do you know what I mean? It's that, so it's kind of realizing that we got to put ourselves first, and that's actually going to bring this person over you better as well. He's not as overwhelmed and, you know, like a bull in a china shop. He's actually, you know,
you are spinning a lot of plates, I find, like you know, owning a business, especially in this sort of environment, but you are spinning plates all the time and trying to
literally
spinning plates and trying to keep everything aboard. And that's just, it is the nature of the beast. But I think we're trying to get into a position now, especially where we're trying to get a bit more like structure and a bit more like calm with everything. So like, you know, a lot of it's down to me delegating jobs where I just take on the burden of doing everything. And now I'm a bit more like, no, right, okay, well, you can do that. And use the team, really.
What's your baby at the moment? Obviously, you've got all of these restaurants and bars, but what, like, I believe everything that, you know, you'll be shifting one restaurant, get that sufficient, move on to the next one. Is this the baby at the moment, Fusion?
I think they all are. I think the minute you start taking your eye off things and start prioritizing other, that's when you know you can. It could, you know, start a slippery slope. Really, I think the key is like getting the team in place and having a team who you trust and who can continue to like the consistency of getting to those levels. So yeah, obviously, like La Casina is the baby. Really, it always sort of has been. So I spend most of my time in Marble.
Really?
The last sort of like 6 months I've been in Marble quite a lot. And then this is something new. It's exciting. It's only 40 seats, so it's a lot smaller than the other sort of like venues. But yeah, I'm quite excited about this because I think it'll be something that's totally different and you know, something that's quite on cutting edge really of where hospitality sort of going and the sort of like style of food that seems to be popular at the minute.
What's your favorite type of cuisine then?
I do actually quite like Asian food. I'm not just saying that. I know people are like, you're just saying that. But no, yeah, it literally is, I'm a bit of I'm a regular on the Chinese takeaway, you know what I mean?
How does
More
it...
first name terms of now,
Dan's back.
Yeah.
Mate, how does it make you feel for people that talk so highly about not just all the restaurants, but whenever I hear about Marble, they're like, it's the pasture of Bridgend. Does that make you feel good, or is that something you want to be better than them?
No, I think, do you know what I mean? Like I'm a bit of a hospitality enthusiast myself. Like I love like nice restaurants. Team was going, and like, you know, I can appreciate someone that's doing well and something. I think, oh, you know, that's fucking cool. Like, so no, it's great to hear. Like, and as you said, it's not to get carried away. Like, there's lots of like moving parts to like running a restaurant. It's not just like some people like see like the end product. Yeah. But you've got to get your suppliers on board. Do you know what I mean? They've got to be consistent because, you know, we've had problems with that over the year now where like you're giving them shit for, because ultimately you can only cook what they give you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, So it's like there's so many moving parts. You've got to get everything, like you've got to be on the ball with everything really to get hopefully what you think is a good product at the end of it. But yeah, nice. Yeah, it's great. It's
quite nice to hear that, isn't it?
Yeah,
when I heard it, I was like, go on, Dan.
Yeah, that's good.
I like to see, like I said, people doing well, but I like to, obviously, Dan, the Apsee is the name. Everyone, even Rod was in here earlier, having a chat, talking shit. But
yeah, he thinks you should have wiped me up, he was.
But it's just nice to see, mate, because people are doing well. They're putting Bridgend back on the map, and then you've got restaurants are full again, and you got to be credit to that then, you know. And
yeah. Like I said, like you don't really have time to reflect, but yeah, no, it is nice to like, you know, you can feel like I probably am one of a couple of us who are trying to drive it and push the sort of hospitality scene in Bridgend to what it is at the minute. And you know, we get a lot of customers from outside the area coming here, which I think is great as well. Yeah, sort of like, you know, you're talking up the M4 corridor, and you've got the train station right here. So we get people from Cardiff coming down here, which I think is. That blows my mind a bit. So I'm like, well, for everything you've got in Cardiff, you're deciding to come to Bridgend.
To have, it says enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's what we want to do, and I'm quite passionate about it. And think that Bridgend can be this sort of like little destination, sort of like hospitality sort of niche in South Wales. Yeah. It just needs everyone to get on board with it and to sort of like get behind it, really.
How do we do that then? Obviously, I know you've upped your social media game. I believe I've seen you up shooting some hoops. But like, how do we get people more, you know, people hearing more about what's happening in Bridgend?
I think it's definitely got a lot more in the last sort of like 5, 6, 7 years than what it was years ago. Yeah. Wales Online do take an interest in Bridgend now, which is quite good. I just think you got to have the operators as well. I think you need a few more people putting their hands up saying we want to invest in Bridgend as well and run that risk, because a lot of people probably will see like, you know, spending money and opening a business in Bridgend as a risk. But I think, you know, once you've got the reputation, and word of mouth is like your biggest marketing tool, really, isn't it? I don't care, you know, you can put out any posts on Instagram or Facebook, but if you've got people talking about places, you know, and they're telling 10 people, they're telling 10 people, and all of a sudden you've got a bit of a following, and you haven't to do anything. It's all organic. I think if you get people to sort of trust that there's an area in Bridgend now, you know, within town centre, where you can come and have some good night, you can have good food, good drinks, you know, and there's not all idiots about either, which is a perception of town as well. But you get that in anywhere, and I think people lose sight of that as well. They think, oh yeah, but that's like, I've been a lot of places out on the piss, like, and try to go to Bosnia on the piss. That's a different view. Yeah, but
that's true. That's true. I just like to see where it's going and everything. You know, you talk about how you don't give up on learning. Essentially, you're constantly learning. Are you afraid to reach out to people higher up than you in the similar industry? Like, hey, what do you think of this? Or
no, I wouldn't. I'm quite like, like I said, I bounce ideas around. I do, or I'll ring someone. Go, what do you think of this then? Like, I'll think of something, and I'll ring it and ring someone and bounce it.
Nice.
So Hannah's been a lot of them.
Yeah,
so
you
like,
said
obviously,
that.
like she'll ring me, or like we'll message her, like, oh, what do you think about this idea then? Like for like her shops, or like for me doing restaurants.
Love that.
And it's just getting like-minded people who sort of like get it as well, and like you can just bounce ideas around with. And I guess it's like validation then. Is if someone else thinks your idea is good, you think, oh, it must be a good idea then. Maybe I'll pursue this. Like, and I think everyone's looking for validation, and like
in certain
what
aspects,
you're doing.
Until you're fully confident in it.
Yeah.
Then you're like self-sufficient. Then you might bounce, like, you know, when you open the fourth shop, you might have gone, fuck, I really want to do it. All I need is one green tick in my head of something.
Yeah.
Boom, I'm in. You know, and
exactly.
But I think the best thing about it as well, when you speak to these people, no one's ever telling you shouldn't start a business. No one, don't do that. It's a bad idea to run a business, or stay in your lane, working 9 to 5 for Karen down at the bakery. You know what I mean? No one's advising that to you, and I like that, because that's the mentality you need to have. People are like, definitely give it a go.
I think it's give it a go, but I think there's got to be
some logic.
Yeah, you got to be some thought behind it.
You can't be going in balls to the wall without
exactly. I could do this. What the hell would you do that for?
Like, surely you like, obviously you've talked about you'd have had a plan in place before setting up, particularly the first or second one. You've probably been anal on the loft, over anal, because it was your first one, and then probably gone, I probably didn't have to have so much control. Now I can ease.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. There's definitely an element of that to it, and I think, like I said, you've got to have the team in place, which that's what it all comes down to. You've got to have the team, because they're ultimately the ones who are pushing your business forward. And we're lucky we got, you know, some really strong teams, some good characters working with me at the minute, which is great.
Good man. Well, I was going to ask you, you know, obviously at one stage rugby was probably the goal for a long time. One stage, for a lot of people, they kind of, when they leave rugby, it's kind of a bit of a drop there, where like something's not filling that, or something doesn't give me that. Did you find that?
Nah, so rugby was kind of like, I sort of made that decision a long time ago. Don't get me wrong, I love rugby, and I'm a bit of a Norse at times, like, and I'm 32-ish now. I'm still playing, which I didn't think I would be. I didn't think I'd be playing at this age. I always said, like, because my old man played till he was like in his 40s, and I always said, I don't being like you, like wheeling me out to flip and play. Like, I got more, I want more to life than just flipping turn up on a Sat. And I'm getting to that, I'm getting down and thinking, but I still do enjoy it, and like I still do feel like I have something to offer, which is like the biggest thing for me. But like, yes, like I made that decision years ago. So like, obviously I played all right level when I was younger. I was in like sort of like the regional setups and got capped. But then I just think rugby sort of went. I was in sort of in the system right at the start of the academies, and academies weren't for me, if I'm honest. I was quite difficult to manage at times.
I couldn't have managed it, Dan.
I got sent home from ospreys training before. That was quite funny. I think it was the first.
What did you do? Told the coach to get fucked.
No, that's rocked up. And down, I think it was down, where was it? Down, what's the one, Port Talbot on the left-hand side, you come off?
In Port Talbot?
Yeah, the little club on the left-hand side, by Abraham Rugby Club.
The Aberravon, not, it's a stadium there, is it? Next to it?
Yeah, little one, not
I don't know. Not Green Stars or something like that,
No, it's literally just off the M4. Anyway, we were training down there. He'll come to me now. It was Ospreys training. And I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Ben Lewis used to play for the Ospreys? Big hair, flank guy.
No. Ben Lewis?
Good boy, Ben was, yeah. And they were winding me up like, and he said, you won't do a flipping crossfield kick in the wall, in touch rugby. Yes, I fucking will. So I got the ball, bang, crossfield kick. Being coach. Get it, what's the time? Right, that's it. Apsee, fuck off. I said, you what? Go home. I said, it's not school, mine. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if we just go. If we just go here, like, we're not going home. Right, that's it. Do 4 laps of the field then. Oh, right, so yeah, I ended up doing that. And yeah, I was just like, I was a bit one of them, really.
Go against the grain a bit.
Yeah, but they didn't like that back then. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't really have a personality. I felt, you couldn't really have a personality. You were seen as disruptive and someone who wasn't a yes man. And that's never been me. And that's probably been part of the reason why I've never pushed on in rugby as well, because I've always done my own thing. And I had a bit of a, not an attitude problem, but I'm just a bit of a big personality in that environment. It's difficult to manage unless you can get the best out of me. But like,
who got the best out of you?
Probably playing with Malta, which we haven't gone to yet. Yeah, that's probably where. Yeah, Damien, who I get on really well with, he got me like, and got how I tick and how you could get me to perform on a rugby field.
Yeah. What is that for you? Because some people like that tough love. Some people need that arm over the shoulder. What are you?
I think I'm just someone who's just given responsibility and backed to say, like, you're a big part of this team. Like, you like lead the boys sort of thing. Like, or you just do your thing. And that sort of, it was just more of that really. And just like, I felt like I was like, a cog, a big part of like the operation, like, which, was great. That's great for me. Like, again, it probably comes down to validation again, where someone's validating your ability, and then you're feeling you're gonna have to go out there and sort of like perform. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. I heard something on this about how, say if it's a classroom of people, right, and there's this one naughty kid and who's disruptive. You either don't, if you ignore him, he's just going to ruin the activity.
Oh, not bad, right?
No, I'll just listen me out, Dan. But if you give him authority and go, listen, you need to manage your team, they go polar opposite then. They're like full on, thorough, successful, they do well. Yeah. Do you reckon that's you with restaurants, mate?
No comment on that, I think.
I think we just hit the nail on the head,
But not like, going back to what you said, like, I was in those setups when I was younger, and, I played with some really, really good players who went on to do great things, like, boys who played for Wales, had good careers, all professionally, and I sort of knew back then it wasn't really for me, like, to be, I guess I didn't want to make those sacrifices, and I didn't want to be, I was more, but I want to do this, but if I do that, you can't, and it's sort of an era where I know, like, it was either like rugby or nothing, and I think it was very much that for a long time. You want to be a rugby player, or you want to do something else. If you want to do something else, you can't be a rugby player. And I was like, well, I like rugby, like, but, and then like youth rugby comes, you go on the piss, and you're out with your mates, and and then, and I guess then, like, I've never been one to go to the gym much, I hate the gym, like.
No, just like to get
I
a
don't
ball
mind,
in your hand
like,
and play.
Just like, I like playing, like, do you know what I mean? And then, certain styles of play would suit me, certain styles of play wouldn't, and it's all about the fleet, how they want it and all that. I remember like, going back when Wales were really successful, and you used to have like the Dan Lydia sort of style back row going around, just chopping people. I won my game, like, and then you had the coaches going, I want this, and I'm like,
it's not me.
I'm a ball player, like, I'm
more
not
of a tip brick then.
I'm a ball player, not a chop tackler, like.
Do you think that's a management issue though? Because if you are that type of player, they need to factor in that into the style of they play. You can't just go, let's all be the All Blacks when this team doesn't play like the All Blacks. You know what I mean? You play with the cards dealt.
I think sometimes Wales has gone a bit too blinkered with it all and gone, well, hang on a minute, what have we got? And like, I get when people say, like, some people, rugby's coached out to them, or things like that. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I've seen sort of like, I've been like playing rugby a long time now, especially senior rugby. I've been in environments where like we've got some great youngsters who are in squads I've been involved with, who are big, fast, strong, gym, tackle, carry. They can't. You put them in like a 3v1 situation. Can't do it.
Yeah, it's too much.
Because they're sort of like
too much freedom.
Development.
Yeah,
they were just gym focused and this focused and
regimented to this,
winning the game line. Whereas you put them in a situation where they've actually got to play rugby and show a bit of skill and a bit of ability, and they're just like, oh, it's not natural to them.
What do we do here?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm probably from the era before that where we were very much rugby skills and that sort of thing, and not so much the gym and the and the attritional sort of play, which but then Wales did really well out of that sort of style of play as well for a period, didn't they, as well? So I guess there's no right or wrong answer to it, is there? It's just how the game has evolved over sort of a 20-year period.
I think you are bang on, though. Like, there's no right or wrong, but from a audience perspective of what's more entertaining to watch, I think we all know what that is.
Yeah, definitely.
And then...
But then people want to see winning as well.
Yeah, but then
if you're not winning...
Then you go to a World Cup and you watch England play and they're just kicking the 3 points, the scrum, maul, ruck, scrum, maul. You know what I mean? You're thinking, that's boring to watch.
Yeah.
Just from an entertainment perspective, you go to that one. I wouldn't even know in our team right now who is that, in the Welsh team right now, who is that eyes up type of player.
I don't think they got one, have they? if I'm honest, I rewatch with rugby these days, only international sort of stuff.
I'd put it that full back. Is it Winner?
Like Thomas Williams he's got ability.
Scrum half, he's good.
He can create stuff.
Any forwards?
I'm trying to think who's there. I think Tipper was the last one, wasn't he? Really, someone who was just a bit of a baller. I like
that. Is it?
I like a bit of a maverick though. That's
I like the 8, blonde hair one from
Wainwright.
Wainwright. I like him. He got a bit about him. Yes.
Yeah, he's alright. He's a bit of a rough diamond, and he's one of them sort of thing.
Like his hair and his dirty mo. He's got a bit of a dirty. You ever had a dirty mo?
Only from Movember, like a few times. Yeah. I grew a handlebar one year. Remember that?
I can imagine you with handlebar.
Yeah, it didn't look the best, I think.
So let's move on now to Malta. How did this even come about? Where's the background? Where's the heritage?
So like, to be honest with you, it's probably the best decision I've ever made, both in life and in rugby. And I wasn't, if I'm honest, totally sold on it to start with. I always knew I was sort of eligible to play for. So my gran was born in Malta, so she had a Maltese passport and everything. Might be a bit of a loophole, some people will say, but yeah, it was like during the war and all that. But my gran's always talked about it growing up, like how she's born in Malta and she had a Maltese passport and they wouldn't give her a British one back in 1940, whatever it was. Or
really?
Yeah, because to start with, and she had to have a bit of a battle to get it and all that. So I think she's quite like, it's big, something, it's her heritage really, isn't it? But like, so yeah, I've always known about it. I sort of like put it off till I was about 25. And I just sent a random email then to them. I thought, I want to see what it's all about. So I sent an email saying, I'm eligible. And they got back to me, asking me about a rugby background. And I got invited then in April to get involved in the national camp then in April. It's gone from there, and I'm still playing there ever since.
Some good fun though, isn't it? But it was a new lease of life.
I'd advise, if anyone, if you don't want to play professional rugby, you're not interested in that, just go and play international rugby, because like, you get friends for life. Like some of my best mates are all, we play for Malta, and we're like got a really tight group. It's great, it is.
Where's their obviously the heritage that? Where do they live now though? Are they UK based?
So we got like a diverse group. So it's basically you got your island based boys, so your boys who are living in Malta day in day out, and then you got your expats there, and all the boys mainly all UK. We had a couple of Australian boys we've had over the years.
Jared Samut, is he?
Jared Samut played. Yeah,
Samut,
he still plays the rugby league team.
Yeah, I think he's with. Barrow
was he?
Raiders are last. I played him last year.
So
he's rigged up. Surely he's on some form.
I've never met him. So he played for the union team. He played for the union team. He got one cap.
Yeah.
So he was apparently the story goes, he was in Malta at the time and he was contracted to the Panama Eels. Is it?
Parramatta.
Yeah,
Eels.
He's contracted to them, and he was in Malta on holiday. Apparently promoting rugby league in Malta. That was like his sort of reason for being there. And the union side of the game that weekend, and he just rocked up training. And yeah, they picked him. They're like, yeah, you can play. And he got a cap, but apparently the rugby league went nuts. Yeah, what are you doing playing for the Maltese rugby union side? But yeah, that's the story goes. He's meant to be a loose cannon.
Loose cannon.
So the boys are on about.
Penrith Panthers he was with in NRL. Mate, he is loose. I've heard a couple of stories about him. He's got this tendency of taking shits in like snooker coal.
Oh,
you know, in the corner of your snooker table, he'll take a shit in there, and you think, what the fuck? But yeah, he was an absolute weapon of a player, and he was rigged to the nines.
Yeah, a couple of the boys are still playing now with the old guard from back then. They said, yeah, and they said, oh, he was unbelievable when he played.
Yeah,
and he played great on the piss. They all loved him.
Yeah,
But yeah, so yeah, that's how it came about. Really, to be honest with you, it's a great opportunity because you get to like. I've been to like countries around Europe which you never thought you'd go to, and you know, and the standard rugby's actually all right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we had a side a few years back which was a really solid side, like which would compete with, you know, we played some good rugby.
That's good.
And
I think the thing is that you got to remember, like, there's boys that might be expats have played high level still. When they go play, they're having a crack. They're not there to just be on a big. Well, they'll have a couple of beers, I'm sure, but
yeah,
there'll be a couple of good games in there as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like we've had some really good players play for Malta. Like, I think a guy called Adam Magro played just before my time. Steve Kempster played. He played for Saracens.
Wow.
So you've had boys who played sort of a professional, sort of in professional environments.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the boys we play, they play sort of National 1, National 2 in England. We just had an intake now, so we've got a game coming up against Cyprus. We just brought in a load of boys now. The first time we've done a bit of a recruitment drive so it's going to be great getting some youngsters in there, sort of like try and take the side forward.
They need any like water carriers or anything?
Yeah,
trip to
right,
Cyprus, I'll come.
It's good. It's warm up there. Mind you, some sun cream up there.
Slip slaps up, right? But yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm glad this is all, like, you know, you're still doing these things. And I think one big thing as well, like you just talked about, even coming back now and helping out with Jen and whatnot, is a part of giving back. It is a part of you get to a certain thing and you give back to something which might have given you something at some stage.
Yeah, definitely. So I've sort of coming towards the end of my career now, and I'm hanging on to some people, I say, I don't know.
32.
Yeah, but I was playing for Glamorgan Wanderers for like 4 years, and COVID sort of came. I went to the coaching job, and to be honest with you, I really enjoyed it because you feel like you're passing on like your experience and like things you know onto these players to try and make them better. I think that's like the biggest thing, I think, for coaching. That's the most rewarding thing I find coaching, is where like you're putting things in place and you're making the side and hopefully the boys better. And understanding and seeing the game a little bit differently to maybe how they would have done.
It's true.
I found that's like the most rewarding thing, really. And then we had some, like, you know, obviously when I went down coaching Cowbridge with my mate Danny, and yeah, like we had a really good team and had a really good crack for a couple of years, and it's just sort of like, it's like stirred something inside you there, and you're like, oh, I'm a part of this, like, and it's like, you know, you get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Yeah,
it's a different dynamic again, innit? It totally feels different to training and playing. I think when you've given, you know, you've learned a lot over the years, so it's amazing, man. I'm glad it's doing. I'm glad you're doing these things, mate. It's a different dynamic to you all the time. So obviously now you're talking about the Malta and obviously you going into coaching and helping them. It's kind of like again, building team, building values, and it's kind of brought that back into business, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all the. We've spoken a lot about the restaurants, but you've got this one opening soon, Fusion. So
yeah, we're opening Fusion now, hopefully sometime in May. That's the plan. So yeah, excited to get that sort of like last minute sort of bits and bobs now. Really, it's weird when like you do something like this. It's all like you take off sort of thing, and everything happens really quickly. And then when it gets to this point, it's like plateaus off, and you're just like, oh right,
it's tedious stuff.
Yeah, and then you're like waiting on things, and you're like, oh, you can't be, you know, you're trying to be meticulous and get everything in place. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a waiting game now. We're trying to like finalising the staff recruitment, little couple of building bits left to finish.
That's nice.
And then getting ready to launch then, which is sort of the nervous part.
It's just nice to see, man. I'm impressed that you've told me that you've designed this. I didn't think you designed it. I thought you just the madman in the back making cocktails and witch potions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I end up getting my sketch pad out, like my crayons, see what it looks like. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm impressed. I am. And then obviously now you're talking about Shop 5. What is Shop 5?
Phase 5.
Phase 5. Sorry.
You got exclusive here, man. You know, I don't know.
I'm honoured, mate.
So so phase 5 is we got a little idea. That's obviously like we alluded to the start. I sort of started out with the loft in Broadlands, which was sort of like the original, really. Being like 25 and doing it. I look back now and I think, fucking hell, you were 25 opening like a little cafe bar, which is basically what it was. Which is, It
wasn't little. It was an upstairs to it.
Yeah, no, it had an upstairs to it, yeah. But it took off, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I was impressed with it.
And it was a bit of a sort of like, it had a good cult following. So, phase 5, I saw it's been in the background of my mind since COVID, when we sort of like, obviously it closed after COVID, the lease come to an end. And we just decided not to renew it. It was never so dead and buried. So phase 5 is we're probably going to look to bring back the loft. into Bridgend, like
bring it back.
I know. And I sort of teased it on my Instagram a couple of times lately, and I've had a lot of people like engaging it, saying, "Oh, you won't bring it back.
Yes.
What's going on?" sort of thing. And I'm just hoping, like, it was such a cult following part of like, especially from our generation, of going out in Bridgend and having great nights out and times there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, we can sort of like replicate that
That'd be awesome.
again.
In the town itself?
Yeah, so we're looking at the town centre, really. So again, like, the town centre seems to be thriving at the minute and everything sort of moving towards the town centre with the different venues that are open, which again, I think is great for Bridgend, that we've got these multiple sort of like venues popping up.
Definitely.
And people wanting to sort of like put hospitality back on the map in Bridgend.
100%. Well, you're the key orchestra in this, mate. We're just all
Don't know
following.
about
But you keep bringing the vibe, man. You bring the people like you just said, coming from Cardiff, Swansea, to come down here and enjoy a quality meal. But then if you've got the bar there as well, the loft, you've got Cane and Rye next door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you've got La Casina next door again, Marble, and now Fusion. Is that all of them? And Loft?
Yeah. We might have some other things up our sleeve.
We'll have to find out about how many phases there are. But man, for me, like this podcast today, obviously I've known you for a while, but I'm impressed. I'm grateful for you to be sharing your journey, because myself, I'm a sponge. I listen to everything and take a lot of gems from this. I'm sure there's people out there right now who have a passion, don't know where to start, and they might just take one gem from this today about, talking it, and you can only talk it for so long, and then they go, I've got to just take that opportunity, constructive way of us, a planned out structural way of doing it instead of just going balls to wall. But I'm grateful for you, Dan, for this. Not just, I know you as the rugby guy, but I know you now as the business owner, and it's a credit to you, man.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes you're so in the moment and just going for it, and day by day and weeks go by, you don't really reflect.
Yeah.
I think that's something like a lot of people should do more, is reflect on where you've come and the journey you've been on, because then, it's not easy at times. And people think it is idiots, really, if you think it's easy just to, I can set this up or do this and that. Yeah. It's not. But I think if you just stick at it and you're consistent, then you can like reap the rewards of it and like see really what, where you can push it, really.
Thing is, doing the things when the days you don't want to do it as well. Like, not trying to be like some motivational speaker, but like doing shit.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah, I love a good old speaker. But what I'm trying to say is like doing shit when you don't want to do it, but just being consistent with it.
Well, consistently shit.
Consistently turning up and doing the things you don't want to do. Yeah. No, don't be consistently shit. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's like, it's like I listened to something you said the other day about, what was it? Eat the frog.
It's the key, man.
I'm definitely like one of the worst of that. I make it a to-do list, and I already know the stuff I ain't going to be doing that day. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's going to be on that list for another week.
Get that over to that one.
Yeah, but then like, you just got to get it done as well.
I think there's this other thing. This graph is like a cross like this essentially, and it's got to-dos, like do nows, to schedule for later, to delegate, and to delete. So basically, like, what do you need to do now? So, like, for instance, for Dan to be the best version of himself, he's got to go for a swim or go for a coffee in the morning or go have 5 minutes to himself before he starts the rest of his emails and other stuff. What is an important meeting or email you got to get done in there? And what other things have you got to get done in that important to do now schedule? And then it's like this, to do now. And then you got your schedule. So what have I got to schedule for the week, month, year, or whatever? Delegate. What are the things you're really shit at, but you're going to be so stubborn, you're going to do them, and it's going to take you 5 hours when you could pay someone to do it within 30 minutes. And like, that's our pride and well, I'm speaking control, and then there's the delete. Is it, have going into unnecessary meetings? Do I need to really catch up with that fella today? Do I need to do X, Y, and Z? And it kind of just fine tunes everything, basically.
Yeah, I think you gotta have a plan with it, really. Like me personally, like I've learned over the years, I like hate admin.
Yeah, same.
I think me and you, we spoke about it, didn't we?
Hate admin.
Like, get rid of that. But I'm like really creative. So like I love, like, do you know what I mean? I'm really like hands on. It's like, yeah, you stick me on shift. Yeah, I'm great. Like you send me, spend 2 hours sorting paperwork out in invoices. I'm like, do not want to be doing that.
Just
I'll pull that off.
Leave it that.
Yeah. That's usually the point I go and walk the dog. That is. He looks like he needs a walk.
That's true, man. But it is, isn't it? Identifying what you're good and good at. Obviously, you're great. You're creative. I think creative people are like...
Yeah, I think I probably am. I never thought about it when I was younger.
You got to be.
But I probably am. That's probably my bag, is being like creative.
Even yesterday, right? I could see the way, in training, you're very ball play, like very eyes up, flicking the pass, doing all these things.
Yeah, we had there's a bit going on there when me and you.
So I'm trying to say this.
We brought the flair, didn't we? Let's be honest. Like.
But what I'm trying to say is this creativeness in you there. So that stems then into life in general, and that's why you're doing amazing things, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's just like how you see the pictures. I think that's the difference between people who are a bit more, might be on the spectrum, I don't know, is it?
Might be.
Like you just see different pictures, I think.
Were you good in class in school? Like, or did you rather be outside or?
I was intelligent, but I was a disruptive intelligent. I was in set one, funny enough, which might be hard to lead people. But I didn't like being set one. It was one of them it was. I was a nuisance to the ones who actually wanted to do work.
But then I bet you would be like, okay, then there's this type of people who don't have to study, don't have to really do much. And then they come to exam time, they're like...
Nah, I hated exams.
Nah, okay.
Nah, I hate exams.
I was terrible at all in school.
Yeah, I was one of those. I'm one of those people where if I'm interested in something, I'll learn about it. If I'm not interested in it, I'm like so disengaged. Yeah. And again, it's a good and bad trait, I guess. But then I don't know. I kind of like not petty, but I just see well, how's that going to benefit for me? I'm quite like goal driven.
Of course.
Just like, well, that's not going to benefit me, so I'm just gonna fuck that off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 'Cause,
makes sense though.
Yeah.
It's like,
sort of like, I like dissect information, which is going to be a benefit.
Well, brother, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Good, thanks for having me on anyway.
Mate, what are you grateful for?
And you're going to ask these questions when you ask everyone, isn't it?
I ask everyone it, mate.
I was thinking, here we go. I think I'm just grateful for, like, obviously, your health. And I guess, like, my family and friends, I think is what I'm probably most grateful for, because you've got a good network around you and good people around you. You can sort of, like... They're sort of like springboard and the people you bounce off. Especially like, go with not just business, but everything in life that goes on. You need that sort of like network of people to sort of like lean on at times and, to motivate you. So like, that's probably what I'm most grateful for, is having a good bunch of people around me. And I probably don't say too much to them either. That I'm really grateful for my friends and family, but I probably am.
Love that, mate. Well, they're listening to this now, so I'm sure they'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I know. They'd be like, what is wrong with you?
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Take care, man.